All right, let's go.
Good to go?
Yeah. Alrighty, so as this week's readings and lectures focused on the various approaches to studying leadership, please discuss with your group which perspective or approach made the most sense to you.
I think the situational approach made the most sense.
Go for it, Kelsey. Go for it.
I think the situational approach made the most sense to me as a leader, because you really need to, you can't do your own thing all the time because everybody's different and everybody listens and learns differently. So that one makes the most sense to me.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's kind of what we were talking about earlier. We said the leadership style you're gonna have depends on the situation and environment. I think it's the same thing. Just always depends on the situation, who you're trying to lead, and all that kind of stuff.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
I didn't even connect those.
I like relational. If you guys, it's cool because the relational whole definition is basically building good relationships with basically the people in your work staff, with the organization as a whole, and all that kind of stuff. So, ultimately, if you're doing that, you're set up for success at that point. If you're trying your best to basically build those relationships, you kind of have that mindset that's going to kind of help you versus, I guess, having the opposite.
Yeah, if you're building a relationship with people, then you're going to have to do that differently anyways. So that kind of crosses over into the whole situational also.
Yeah, the situational stuff, that's the tricky one because, at the same time, everything's a little bit different. Your situation, your context, your everything kind of does dictate how you're going to act in that environment. But I don't know. I think if I had to choose one, I would still stick with the relational just because it's the one that kind of hits home with me more so, just because it has that mindset of act the way you should at all times. You know what I mean? Your daily life, meeting regular people, you're trying to, by being positive and by trying to build relationships, you're just going to have more doors open to you versus having your arms crossed and always looking like you're mean mugging everybody. So I take that as just more naturally how I tend to be with every job that I do end up taking. And I don't know, it seems to work out really well for me. Every so often I'll clash with somebody, but usually it's not a big deal.
I agree with you, but when do you think there ever comes a time when the relationship blurs the lines between manager and employee or leader and follower? Because, for example, my store manager is very attached with us as employees, and she has played the mom role so much so that we don't respect her as a leader anymore. So I'm wondering if it's really good up to a point. It feels like you have that conflict with people because you can still be their leader, but I think too much relation. Yeah.
I think one thing I've noticed maybe is it kind of depends on the type of person you are. So maybe situational, if you're already, that charismatic, have that outgoing personality, if you already have those kind of qualities as a leader, you can focus more on changing it to fit a specific person you're leading. Where maybe relational, because I can think of a lead I have that's very standoffish just because he's shy as a person, but once he talks to you, it works. So maybe on that point would work better for someone like him.
Well, I know when it was talking about traits, it was it specifically said it used shyness as a trait. So if somebody tends to be super, super shy, I could see that. Where somebody that a manager that wants to really have that relational type of approach, almost might scare them away. Or it's just you're coming at me a little too strong. So okay. I could see that.
So did anyone pick the transformational leadership style at all?
That one didn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
Yeah, I've seen the Maslow's hierarchy before, but I really didn't really get too much from it.
Let's see, what's the second part of the question? Basically, so how would somebody that let's say a situational leader, or no, a relational leader, or any of these, it's asking how they can actually go about motivating their followers.
I think
or I
that
guess how do they differ?
Right, I think a relational leader can motivate any follower, any leader can motivate their followers, just companions, trust, and it's also depending on the followers too. You know, I mean, you can be any leader you want, but like I said before, if your followers aren't going to do anything, they're not really, they're not motivated, and they're not really going to do what you want them to do or see the same vision as you. So it kind of just depends. But I like building relationships with people, so that's why I think relational leadership style is better, just because you get to know somebody on a more intimate level instead of just such like a transactional leadership, which is just like I do this for you, you do this for me, and that's it.
Yeah. I mean, the overall organization stuff is going to have a little bit to do with it, So as far as like, I mean, is it something like Starbucks where, they got things everywhere, it's just it's becoming more corporate than it is a small business. I mean, I think that has to have a lot to do with it. If you're going to have a small business, for me, for example, just the fact that I like the relational side of it, I know I could achieve that a little bit easier with a smaller staff, with a smaller organization. If I had my own business, if I had a tight knit group, then it's easier to do. Once I start franchising or once I start doing anything at the point where my hands aren't on it anymore, at that point, it's going to be a little difficult to try to get everybody to be on that same type of stance as I am. I mean, it's an uphill battle, especially as you start growing.
And if you have a smaller staff, then they're more likely to want to build those relationships with each other rather than just a massive warehouse of people.
Yeah.
You're just going there for 8 hours a day just to get a paycheck.
But at what point does when a tight knit group start using the leader? They start building these relationships with the leader, then they start slacking off. So it's kind of like you kind of have to set your foot down in the beginning, I think, and then show that you can be friendly and like towards the end. Because if you come off really friendly and laid back, it's just like people are gonna take advantage of you. But if you come back and kind of cutthroat, but not really, you build that relationship that you want these things done, you can just have fun and enjoy each other. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like it kind of just depends.
I mean, it's definitely a hard balance, that's for sure.
Right.
So do you think that what you just said, Darren, would fall into functional leadership?
Ooh.
Because that's basically saying it doesn't matter who's doing it, it's that you're doing it a certain way.
I mean, I guess it can, but I mean, I don't know. Like I said, everything's all different, I feel like, and I feel like just to classify things in general, I mean, everything has like a little bit of every kind of leadership, I feel like.
I agree totally.
I don't know. It's kind of like
I think it's hard going into a role when you are already working with those other people before, and then suddenly now you're their leader, so you didn't have to have that relationship with them.
Right, and I feel like that is a really good example of the whole, the relationship leadership, how that can kind of fail. Because one of my coworkers just recently got promoted, and no one will listen to him because he was like a shitty employee. So we were all like his friend, and then he told everybody what to do, and now we're like no, friend, you're not gonna. So.
Right. It's also hard for people to try to listening to people that get promoted that were at their same position before, just because you just do the same job as they were, and what are they doing different now that makes them a leader, or a man.
I agree.
It's funny because I'm always, put it this way, I don't go into work with the mentality of I'm going to be best friends with everybody at work. I don't, but I'm really respectful, and I never disrespect anybody. It's just a matter of, this is a job, and there's always going to be as nice of a guy as I want to be. There's still going to be a little bit of separation of like who I am out of work and who I am in work. Because at the end of the day, like you said, if I'm 100% comfortable with my staff, the way I am with like my buddies that I go out with, or I just hate, my buddies that they're not going to respect me, because at that point it's like, I'm not going to let you see that side of me, because it becomes a little too real at that point. And then you basically downgrade, you basically like lose some of that footing that you built basically by trying to be a little too cool with everybody, to where once you get to a point where you're trying to tell them what to do, they're gonna they're gonna look at you a little cross-eyed. But my thing is, I'm the nicest guy ever. I'll be your best. I'm not. I'll be a good friend to you at work. But the first chance that I have where I actually have to, essentially set boundaries or basically give that yes or that no answer that they're not going to like, I have to commit to it, because if I don't, that's when they start looking at you as a pushover. So it's a tough balance. And again, it's all depending on who you're working with, that's for sure.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think one of the big benefits to relational leadership is you get to really know people. And at that point, you can kind of, I guess this is going off of small businesses again, but you can really kind of figure out people's strengths and their weaknesses and kind of delegate tasks and jobs to different people based on their strengths and weaknesses, which really is going to increase productivity and stuff like that. So I think that's definitely a benefit to relational leadership and getting to know the people you're leading.
It's funny because looking at past experience, I mean, I've had things hit the fan in just about every type of leadership. It all just ended up being who the followers were. They're a huge part of staff, that management style is going to function or not, because I don't know. It just is. I mean, there's so much diversity from everybody. I mean, even just us. I mean, we all come from different backgrounds. We all have different perspectives on things. And I could say something to Kelsey, and it could be taken completely different by somebody else. In words, the exact same tone, everything. But just because of their personal life experiences, they took it the wrong way. And I have to tell that to my staff all the time. I tell them, hey, guys, you guys can, I mean, I hope that you guys listen, kind of just keeping the ear open when I'm dealing with a tough situation in front of you guys. But don't think that you can say exactly what I'm saying every single time, because I can say certain things that because that person knows who I am, they can kind of feel that kind of, I don't know what you want to call it, whether it's your aura or whatever. It's just you can get away with saying certain things that the next person can't. And I've been on the wrong end of that too, where I've seen somebody say something that was clever, and then it works out really well for them, and I'll try using it, and I'm getting bad ratings or something. I'm getting reprimanded by managers. So I don't know.
I think we're at 13 minutes. If you guys want to wrap it up.
What are we at right now?
13 minutes.
Yeah, I think we covered both sections.
Yeah.
That
was easy
trying to keep it right next to my face, trying to see if we were going down the checklist. But yeah, I think we got them.
Cool.
So
all right, guys. Well, hey, it was a good time. I'll see you guys next Tuesday.
See you guys next Tuesday.
See ya.
Bye.
Take care, guys.
Bye.